Alrighty. We are live. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are having a great day. My name's Dom. Welcome to CMGR Hangout, my CMGR, the community built by, for, and managed by community managers. Really excited. We have a great panel for everybody today. Hello also to everybody at Twitter. Hope you guys, I know we have Carrie and Sarah holding things down on the tweet side. We have a fantastic panel today talking about lessons from rookie community managers. Feel a little bit bad about the rookie, but you know what? It's all right. Let's just say it. It's better than saying noob community managers. We've got a lot of stuff, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and then we will actually jump into what we are going to talk about. But let's start with Sherry.
I thought rookies were a good thing. Like, everyone is excited about their rookie card, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, I'm Sherry. I lead community and user experience at Rebellion Media, where I work with a network of health communities, and I also produce CMGR Hangout here with Dom and Brew. You're up, Drew.
I'm up. Cool. My name is Drew. I'm the community manager here at Linksy. We help recent college grads get jobs at startups. And I'm also an organizer for Startup Weekend here in New York City.
Am I up?
Yeah, go ahead, Crystal.
Hey, I'm Crystal. I'm the community manager for Target Analytics here at Blackbaud. I am literally a rookie community manager. I've been at the job for about 8 or 9 months. So I don't know if it gets any more rookie than this girl.
And I think I'm on. I don't know if I'm on. Hopefully I'm on. My name's Casey. I'm the social media manager for the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute in Orlando. I've been doing this for a while, but I dig the rookie call because, as Dom knows, and some people know on Twitter, I used to be a Men in Black agent here at Universal Studios. So I'm all right with rookies. They're good.
Awesome. Good stuff. And I am Dom, producer here, co-producer with Sherry and Brew, as well as communications manager for Millennial CEO, and I work with Be the Change Revolutions as well. So I, too, am a rookie, which is really fun. Just really been doing this by title for less than a year, so it's a lot of fun to have everybody and see what everybody else is going to go through. But this whole idea of being a rookie, you know, you're really excited, you're bright-eyed, you're bushy-tailed, you're signing on to the Twitter for the first time, maybe trying to build a community from scratch. You know, your team and your boss is putting a lot of faith in you. Maybe you're brand new in a community that's already been going on. But there's a lot to be learned from that trial by fire. And, you know, everything from how to deal with specific problems in the community to being able to tell what your ROI is to your boss. There's a lot that you learn right away. And, you know, everybody here, people have been, you know, we actually have nominees, the winner from this year's CMAD. The force is strong with this one, which is Drew, so super stoked to have him on the panel. So, yeah, let's jump right in. And let's see, the first question, just go on there. I guess the first question, we'll go through the panel. How long have you been working as a community manager? So what are your stats? Let's see the back of that rookie card. What are your stats?
Since June for me. So June, July, August, 8, 9 months.
I'm coming up on my 1 year within the next 2 weeks since I joined the company here. Yep, so almost.
I'm just about to hit my 2nd year, actually. March 18th will be my 2-year anniversary here.
Awesome. Good stuff. So this one is a little bit of a longer question, but what type of job did you guys have before you were working in community management? Even if it might be sort of community management style, like before you had necessarily the title, what were some of the jobs that you worked at before this?
I used to work doing social media marketing for a finance company here in New York City. You know, very corporate, very different language that we could use, and feeling presenting the brand. So coming to a small startup, I got to have a lot more fun with what I'm doing here now and growing the community. So went from a corporate environment to a young, fun startup.
I actually worked in television news for 15 years. So I did not do community management whatsoever. I was a producer for TV news. I did morning shows in Las Vegas. I was an executive producer in Savannah, Georgia. I've been to a lot of TV stations, but I found that it was a good fit for me because as I was working in TV news, I was also always in charge of the station's social media. And you remember the early days when social media wasn't, it was just coming about. People didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole in media. Believe it or not, I know it's crazy. But they were not very adaptive to it, but I was immediately, and it was just kind of a thing that I like to do personally, so I knew that I could do it professionally. And then when I got this job in corporate America, as I like to call it, I had gotten to the end of my rope in television news. I couldn't take any more bad news. I was tired of hearing about people being mean to each other. So when the job came open, I was ready to try something new, and I did, and luckily they took a chance on me, and so far they seem to enjoy me. I don't, that could change tomorrow. I have no idea. But yeah, it was definitely a big change for me to go from media into community management.
So do you feel right at home being on a broadcast then?
I do, kind of. That's probably why I'm always like, sure, I'll do it, no problem. And I also, on that end, feel like the way our community is going, some of the skills that I've brought from television news are being incorporated into community management. I do a lot of community member profiles where I interview community members and do like a little post about them, and that, again, that's what I've learned from TV news coming over into it. So it's not the same exactly, but there are a lot of things that connect and integrate pretty well between the two. So if you're a hiring manager, look out for those TV news people. They know what they're doing.
What didn't I do is a better question. I have had a career mostly based in hospitality. The company I work for now is hospitality education and training and certifications. So I've worked through most of the Orlando theme parks, hotels, restaurants, almost everything is hospitality based. So that kind of helps me community-wise and social media-wise, knowing how to talk to people and have that sort of base. But yeah, I've been a little bit everywhere.
Nice.
Awesome.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Sherry.
Okay, I was just going to say, it's interesting because actually before community, I was working more in design and in web development, which is how I ended up in community through the communities I got involved there. But before that, actually, the skills that I've applied a lot are more from when I was a day camp counselor and when I worked at McDonald's. So it's interesting how those kind of translate through.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You know, like having jobs, I've mentioned it on a couple of different times. Like I learned so much from being an elf at the Santa Claus set in the mall around Christmas time that I bring over into this job. It's crazy the types of things that you have. And I guess this is sort of going off of what you said. It's not necessarily the next question, but if you guys were to pick something from a past job, like the biggest thing from a past job, and I know Crystal, you started to hit on this, like the biggest thing that translated over to a situation or something that you're doing now, what would you say that is? I know you didn't prep. Nobody prepped for this question.
Yeah,
I'm just
way to
firing
catch us off guard. Jeez.
That's what I'm doing.
I think just going back for me, the people part of it. Working in hospitality, you have to be a people person. You don't really have a choice in that matter. So for the community sense of it, again, knowing how to talk to different people and with different people about a variety of topics and sort of cross-referencing all those angles is probably one of the bigger things for me. I also have a background in photography and design and those things, so those sort of transition over as well because of the graphics and things like that I need to create. So that keeps me busy.
I guess like not learning how to talk to people, because that's just kind of an inherent skill we all should have. But learning how to talk to people like they're people is something that I feel like not everybody can do. That comes over from media. When we're in media, we're always told to write our scripts so people at a 4th grade level could understand them. So unfortunately, that doesn't make America sound very smart, but at the same time, it also illustrates that, you know, if you talk to people like they're people and the simpler explanation that you can give them, the better, then it's going to translate better.
Coming from the finance company I used to work at, we had a very technical service, and I think I just learned to, exactly what Crystal was saying, just learned to explain things in a very easy to understand way, and I kind of translated over to, you know, working at a startup and maybe having like a technical product, but learning to explain it in a fun way that's engaging for people. And then also, you know, we had the whole process of creating a social media marketing plan before we did everything, and it actually helped a lot understanding, you know, calculating ROI and, you know, how well posts were doing and things like that, and bringing those over to a smaller company actually did benefit us overall, so that was really helpful.
Awesome. That's really great. So this is sort of, you know, what you brought from the past. Now moving into, you know, this year, or 2 years, or however long you've been doing it, 8 months, whatever, it doesn't matter. What would you say your biggest challenge in beginning your career? Like, so if you want to look back at the beginning, even if it, you know, even if it was smooth sailing for a couple of months, like, what do you think the biggest challenge in beginning a career in community, and what have you guys done about that?
I think the hardest part for me was that my position at the company didn't exist until I joined. I was the first employee other than the 3 founding members. So a lot of what I was doing and setting up was not in place at all. So when we decided to go and launch a campus ambassador program, it was, you know, typical startup fashion. They just kind of went, oh, great, do it. And I had to really create all of the documents and everything from scratch and how it was all going to run. So that was by far the biggest challenge, is kind of building up an entire program and community from scratch from day one.
Yeah, I had to do the exact same thing. I was the first community manager for Target Analytics. So when I came on board, the community itself existed, but there wasn't anybody really running it. There was no outline for it, no guidelines of where it was going. So you had to just take on this huge project and try to steer it in the way that I wanted to go. And I would say a big challenge with that is that when you come in and you have a sort of established community, you also have a lot of people who are very passionate about their ideas. And if you want to do one thing and they want to do another, boy, they're not going to be like, oh, okay, we'll have it your way. No, they're not going to do it. They're not going to be that easy. So it's a matter of like formulating a plan, sticking to that plan, sticking to your guns, and making it happen no matter what anybody else on your team, no matter what their passions are, their opinions are of what community should be. You really have to just kind of outline what you think it's going to be and stick to it.
Yeah, for me, I was the first one here too doing social. So a lot of it was getting everything set up and sort of having designing a plan. It wasn't in place. So I would definitely kind of echo all the sentiments everyone had. It just, that was tough. And then we have an international market, so we had different time zones and languages and just a worldwide scope that we were sort of competing with, I guess, and trying to figure out. So that was definitely a challenge as well.
I want to jump in here and ask kind of a similar question. We were talking about community management on Mention Chat yesterday, and one of the questions on there was, what was something that you wish someone had told you or that you knew when you first started in community management? And I know I was talking about how I wished that I knew how to really portray the value of community to others in my company, just so that they understood. And then Ted brought up, Ted McEnroe from the Community Roundtable brought up a really good point, which is that from the outside, you really have no idea like how much behind the scenes goes on in community, rather than what you see on the front lines. So those are kind of like two key things that came out of there. But I don't know, kind of similar to what we just said, like what's something that you wish you knew when you started that you actually didn't know?
I wish I knew how much marketing would go into my community. We have a support community that's not searchable by Google. So everything that we're doing to try to generate membership is literally me hammering people with emails about why they should join community. So I feel like the first 8 months of my job so far has been massive marketing. And I didn't have a big marketing background coming into it. I've learned, but coming into it, I had no idea how to market anything. Well, now I could market this piece of paper pretty easily. I mean, it's just gotten to that point where, yeah, I mean, I could convince you to buy this piece of paper.
From the beginning, I really didn't know what the role involved. I think just realizing that there was a lot of other resources out there, people who did AMAs and that were industry veterans in the space who were very open to sharing their thoughts and what has worked for them or not. I wish I really found those resources early on. In the beginning, it was a lot of trial and error, and I wish someone had showed me that there was all of that information out there already right from the get-go.
Oh, I think you're muted.
I am.
There we go.
That was so much fun.
Let's rewind 5 seconds and start from the top.
No, you have to read what I said through my, yeah. No, so for me, I think it was just not knowing everything that was going to be involved. I knew there would be marketing. I'm part of the marketing team here, but it's also that challenge of getting other people to see you're not just marketing. You're a lot of things, and you're almost everything at a lot of different times. So it's been a challenge there to sort of see what direction to take and how to educate people on that. So it's been fun, but scary too, because it's not just social, it's not just community, it's a lot of things. We even had an intern in yesterday, and I was showing her everything that I do on just a day-to-day basis, not even the crazy stuff that pops up in the middle of the week. And she's like, I had no idea, I thought it was just Twitter. So I wish maybe someone would have slid me a piece of paper on that one, but I enjoy it too. It keeps me busy, that's for sure.
Awesome. And I'm actually going to bring in a question from Twitter, Patrick, who, rookie mistake, didn't put the hashtag in there, but it's all right. We forgive him. He has a question for the panel.
Are you sure we forgive him, Dom?
I'm not sure if we forgive him. I don't know.
I don't think Patrick counts as a rookie. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it.
I know, but here's the thing. I'll admit it. I am super scared about saying anything bad to Patrick because he's more witty than I am, and I know that I would get demolished. It's like don't pick a fight with Patrick. Don't pick one with David DeWald because you will lose, guaranteed. Anyway, his question: if you could go back in time and change something about your first few months, what would that be?
I think for me, I wish I knew more about analytics initially, like right off the bat. Analytics to me are still, because it's a numbers thing. I'm not a numbers person. It's like if I go shopping, I don't even want to hear how much I spent because it involves numbers. I just don't want to know. So for me, I wish the first few months I would have really honed in on that and sort of figured it out faster. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm getting there.
Co-sign for that. Oh my gosh. ROI scares the ever-living crap out of me, and it still does to this day. Luckily, with a startup community, I haven't really had to been tracking it that much, but that time is coming, and I have documentation after documentation, and when I look at it, I guess it's supposed to make sense, but all I see is algebra, and my eyes just kind of glaze over. So, yeah, the analytics and the ROI side of it for sure would have been great. Like in the interview, they should have said, like, how are your math skills? And I could have been upfront with them and told them.
I would have been done. I would have walked out.
Like, what is math? I don't know. I don't, still to this day, I have trouble adding 9 plus 6. So, yeah, that's tough. And actually, if you guys have another community hangout about ROI, I am listening in 100% because I still haven't had anybody that can sit down and really explain it to me how to do it. And even the articles you read online, they even say, like, it's really not that easy to do. Thanks, articles, for not helping me at all. So, yeah, I would definitely say analytics and ROI, and it's a huge part of it. But right now I'm just having, like, the fun times and, like, chatting with community members and writing about them, but the real stuff's coming, and I know it is, and it scares me.
I was gonna say, I think the analytics and ROI is scary too, because that's like proving that you're doing your job. Like if it's in the red, you're in the crapper. And that's a scary thing to be like, well, I tried, but they just didn't like enough stuff.
It's basically like
that's scary.
Yeah, it's basically like, hey, Crystal, justify your salary for us.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, the magazine said it wasn't going to be easy, so buckle your seatbelt.
One thing, just so everybody does know, we have had a couple of conversations on here about ROI. So if you go to the newly refurbished mycmgr.com, thanks to the wonderful Sherry, she spent a lot of time and made that look extra special pretty for you. She did that for you. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in there talking about ROI. And I forgot to mention it before. I guess this is just commercial time halfway through. If you want to be a part of the panel and have a bunch of fun like we are, deal with mic issues on Windows computers, should you wear glasses or tuck hair behind your ear? Is the dress blue and black or is it gold and white?
Blue and black. It's obviously blue and overexposed black with golden shoes.
It's blue. Oh, man.
It's just ugly.
We might as well not talk about anything else for the next 35 minutes. We'll be talking about this dress.
Stop commercialing. Back to the questions.
Back to the questions. Okay. There's a button. Click it. You could be cool. Anyway, question 4. Here we go. Hard transition. Where have you guys gone for guidance? We've mentioned a couple of little things, but I guess this is the time to plug other people's stuff. Where have you gone? So the transition did work. There you go. But where have you gone for guidance?
I think the best has been for me so far is the CMX Hub Facebook group. If you aren't in that group and you're in community, just apply now to get in it. It ranges from everybody from first day community manager like myself to industry veterans, and everyone's extremely helpful. Let's answer any questions you have. So I would definitely join that one if you're new to the space. That has been the best resource for
me. Go ahead.
No, I'm like jumping.
I yield.
Okay. I think for me, really, it's going to sound cheesy. I don't know for you guys, but these things right here, Hangouts help me tremendously. Twitter chats are my saving grace throughout the week. And it's easy to kind of tweet a question and not feel like an idiot for some reason, versus like sitting down and face-to-face with someone and really just feeling like a jerk sometimes. And then I attended the Social Fresh conference in July here in Orlando, and the people that I met there and the presentations that we saw and everything were tremendous, but it was the people that I met there. I went to a person I met there just this week and asked a question to say, am I right in thinking this? And we hashed it out and figured it out. So just the connections and the people and that human-to-human thing to me has been really beneficial.
When I came on board, I didn't know how to code. I know. I don't know if you guys do or not. I don't even know if that's normal to know how to code like right off the bat. I had no idea how to code anything. So I had to take a bunch of online courses for that. And now I'm a coding wizard. I think Feverbee for me was a good resource. And then when I very first started, back in my baby days, I did a lot of looking at other people's community sites just to see how they were running theirs, see what they looked like, see what the content was. And then I stole all of their ideas and put them on our community website. So imitation, sincerest form of flattery, yada yada. But this Google Hangout's been a blast as well, so shout out to you guys. And that's it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Crystal. And for the record, I have no idea how to code either. So
I do. That's the crazy
thing. You do know how. You do know how now.
Insane.
I am the furthest thing from that kind of a wizard.
I tried to learn, and I threw up the white flag on it because my brain just does not work like that. Oh man, so many headaches.
Let's be clear. I basic code. I'm not doing anything
that
fancy.
I could do probably, yeah.
Yeah, I know how to make a word bold, and I know how to put an iframe in. But
okay, well, no. In that case, I know how to code too.
Yeah, I'm not making any apps or anything. Just to be super clear.
Yeah, Sherry tries to talk to me about like, yeah, I just messed with this feed and and I don't know how to code, but I know how to pretend like I know what you're talking about when you're talking about
Yeah,
code.
you're just
Right,
like,
you just
that's
nod.
magic. That's pretty much always your response.
But anyway, by the way, we have about 4 questions left and a half an hour. So we would love to take more Twitter questions. So make sure that you're sending questions to Sherry or myself or Carrie or Sarah, or just yell them out loud. Maybe we'll hear it. But let's talk about the happiness. What was your biggest victory? What is your biggest community victory where you just broke your arm, patting yourself on the back, wanted to go get an ice cream cone with sprinkles because you were a winner?
I mean, I have to give a shout out to CMAD, obviously. Winning the Force is Strong with this one award was awesome. That's by far my biggest win for the year. Other than that, work related was getting the ambassador program I mentioned before up and running by the spring semester now. But I have to give a shout out for the award.
Give a shout out to yourself, bro. You're the one that won it.
What does the award look like? Do you have it like mantled behind you on your mantle or anything?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh.
It's on its way.
Yeah, he's gonna get a bunch of swag too.
There are pictures of last year's if you go to cmed.co, but this year's have not arrived yet.
I think one of my biggest victories was the aesthetic of my community. It started out pretty bland and boring, and through a lot of trial and error, trust me, I got it to where it looks pretty snazzy now. So I take great pride in the way it looks based on the platform that we're on. I mean, there's a lot of limitations to what our platform can do, but based on what it can do, I've pretty much utilized every single aspect of what they can do. To the point where I think my platform is better, or I think my community is better than my platform's community. So, say much there, but pretty big victory, especially when you have to do a lot of it by coding.
I think for me, I'm going to go back to that mess of analytics because when I ran the numbers finally from when I started to just recently, it was like throwing confetti all over the place, like walking into all the people's offices telling them how awesome I am. So it was a win on that front for sure. Just seeing how much we've grown and improved and really focused on the people that we want in that community. So that was nice to actually see, like, I knew I was doing a good job, but to see the numbers, yeah, there's a pat on the back for that, for sure.
I want to answer this question as well because my answer is the same as Drew's for CMAD. That was, like, personally and professionally, the greatest week of my entire life. It was so much fun just being able to meet a bunch of people that I've had wonderful conversations with, and hang out and drink, which is always a good time. Taylor Swift karaoke and the like. But then also just to see that we had such a response from the entire CMGR community all across the world. And all of those panels that came together, people that are here that were on the panels and all over, it was absolutely fantastic. So I know that's my personal one. Sherry, I want you to answer this question too. So what's your biggest victory? I'm just straight up calling you.
Rude. My biggest victory in the last year is probably being able to expand and hire a team for community. Because previously I've never been able to do that, so it's pretty exciting. Except for I decided I prefer being on the other side of the interview table, actually, which is weird. I get that, but it's true.
Awesome, good stuff. I'm actually going to bring in another question because let's do that. Let's see here. Can I do that? There we go. Share this one. This one right here. Am I sharing? You guys can see that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely not Brew. Okay. How do you handle it when you get discouraged, when you get frustrated, when you feel like a failure? I'm sure we've all sort of felt that, but what do you do? How do you handle that?
Tequila.
I was going to say vodka. And just tears now.
Tequila and Tears. That's the name of my next band.
The salt from the tears helps you save salt you have to get. You know, it's a good trade.
I would just say, what do you do when you get frustrated in life? I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Just take a deep breath, realize that whatever's going on will probably clear itself up in a couple of days. Take it one step at a time. If you're dealing with someone who's very persistent, standard around, machetes don't hurt. I'm just kidding. Don't do machetes. That was bad.
Basically, just don't listen to Crystal.
Just don't listen to anything I have to say at this point.
Or at least nothing involving machetes. Everything else is solid.
Yeah, the machete idea was bad. It did not go over well.
Actually, we talked about this last week, I think, and one of the things that I do is actually I keep track, mostly on Twitter. I favorite compliments a lot because I feel awkward retweeting them, so I just favorite them. So when I'm having like a crappy day, I can look back and be like, oh, hey, I actually don't suck. This is awesome. Also, just getting outside really helps me a lot, whether it's running or biking or hiking or whatever.
I do the same thing as Sherry, but instead of on Twitter, I do it in Gmail. I usually star, like, you know, if our community responds back saying how great we are, how awesome it is, I usually star those in my inbox and can go back to them if ever having a crappy day, right?
Yeah, that's really good. Go ahead.
My computer's not happy with me. It like froze for a second. Yeah, I think for me, it's just really focusing on, like I said, you know, in a couple of days it's probably going to blow over. I will definitely walk outside like almost immediately.
Did we lose her? Is she frozen for other people too?
Yeah, she's frozen. I forgot to mention I also yell at Dom when I'm feeling frustrated.
True.
You can also call your mom. She'll make you feel great. Trust me.
Yep. My mom got a shout out last week, and she does rock. She believes in me all the time. So no, but for me, I think that one of the things that I do is one of our communities just went through a massive shift, and we got some pretty negative feedback that was just rolling in, and you know, I just sort of, you know, have that physical, you know, sort of take a step back from your computer, sort of realize, all right, you know, and then look at the grand picture of it, that, you know, you have to realize it's not always personal. These people are very, very passionate for a reason. I'm going to quote David DeWald because I do it pretty much every time he's not on here, but, you know, sort of taking that step and realizing that the people that are yelling the most and that are the most discouraging, they're some of your most passionate community members, but sometimes they just suck at knowing how to get across the point in a way that would, you know, not make you feel like a piece of crap. So try to keep that in your head as well, I think is one of the biggest things. So let's go to question number 6 here. What would you guys tell someone? So you have somebody that sits down next to you and they say, hey, I'm starting my job as a community manager tomorrow. What would you say to them?
No machetes. I'm just kidding. I would tell them to be ready to change their ideas at the drop of a hat. Like, you can come in with one idea, but be prepared for that idea to be blown out of the water, and be very adaptive to changes that happen, because in 8 months that I've been a community manager, I think changes have happened once every 3 weeks. So you can't control it. It just happens. If you work in support like I do, and in corporate support, you never know what you're going to get, honestly. So I would just say be adaptive. Don't be combative. And That's it.
All right, everybody on Twitter needs to tell Drew to dance because his light's turned off in that room because it's a time thing, so we're trying to get him to dance on camera. It's all right.
Pretty awesome. If the camera came up and he was dancing, that'd be great.
Come on, Drew, just do it.
Before I clicked my video off and I just stood here and jumped around, hold on, I will try it one more time. We'll try it. If not, I might have to get up and move. Hold on a second.
Okay.
If he had the tequila and vodka, he'd be dancing all over the place.
Tequila and tears.
I think that's what Kristen said she does when she feels frustrated, is 30-second dance parties. So.
Those are good.
By the way, someone offered me $100 for this piece of paper on Twitter, and I'm taking them up on it.
All right, your marketing skills are on.
Yep, no takebacks, no takebacks. You know who you are, Patrick.
Oh, it was Patrick?
Yes.
You'll never see that money.
Dang
He's
it.
he's about to fight a two-front war. That dude needs to save up.
Plus, he has to tunnel his way out of the snow first, let's be honest.
Exactly. Speaking of that, I'm going to sidetrack. Did anybody else actually hear about the guy that created a website to sell snow? He lives in Boston, and he
I
created
bought some. It's coming to Florida, guys.
Was it Patrick?
I see. When they said Boston, Patrick was the first person I thought of. I was like, that dude is selling snow. Smart.
Consequently, I'm also selling sand. We have a beach like 10 miles down the road. I'm going to go get some sand, and I'm going to send it up north.
Okay,
Just
now
for you
you're
guys.
just bragging, Crystal.
Yeah.
I am just bragging now.
We have
Bragging.
one too. It's in bags to stop the trucks from sliding off the road. So.
I like the Ship Your Enemies Glitter website if I was going to ship anyone something.
They're probably backlogged for like years now.
I saw a couple people were posting to Reddit and other sites this week that they started receiving a few. Pretty great.
So if someone sends me glitter, that's it. It's over. No, not okay.
Guys, that was a challenge for anyone that knows Casey's address.
You do.
When I posted it on Facebook, I was like, if any of you friends send me glitter, it's done. We're over.
Okay, I'm going to jump over here. We have another question. This one's from Nick. Question for everybody: What brand have you most enjoyed doing community management for? His is Stockyards Rodeo. So thanks, Nick, for the question. But what brand have you guys had the most fun working for?
Mine was Sweet Tooth, which isn't a lie, which, I mean, is not a secret. Of course, it's not a lie, obviously, but it's not really a secret. Anyone that knows me knows that, so.
You're asking the rookie CM panel, so ideally we don't have that much of a background with it. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy what I'm doing here at Lindsay. I think we're building something fun and awesome and useful for people getting jobs. So.
My official answer will be Blackbod, because that's the only person I've done it for. But my unofficial answer would be, does Game of Thrones have a community? Because if so, I'm in. Game of Thrones, people who might be watching.
Did that remind anyone else of the scene in that thing you do, by the way, where they're on the radio and he's asking them who their favorite artist is, and no one says The Wonders, and he's like pointing to their album like the entire time, and they just don't get it. Okay, sorry.
Man, oh man, that's if you're playing the drinking game, yes, Sherry mentioned that thing you do, so you can drink now.
Oh my God.
All right, here's a question just for Twitter, actually. Tom Hanks, American Treasure or not? And direct all of your answers at Sherry. Maybe we can set her straight. So.
What's the next question?
That's a question? Shouldn't be a
Exactly.
question.
I know, right? There's a reason she's in Canada, because she got kicked out of this country.
Dom, you're muted or something.
Oh, I thought it was just my computer.
No, it's Dom.
Let's make up a question.
I think we're on question 7. So what is the biggest lesson you've learned in the past year? Did we ask that already? I don't think we did. That's the question.
That's the one we're on, if you can hear me now. Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. Yeah, question 7. Go.
I already asked it.
All right, I'll go for it. So the biggest lesson in the past year, just definitely reach out to people. I mean, I think community managers, by design, are very outgoing and love to connect with other people. So reach out to people. If they're in the city near you, go and grab coffee. If not, call them up. I mean, I've met, I can't even count how many people I've had calls with and talked to just from reaching out and asking them questions. They're happy to connect with a rookie CM like myself. So definitely just reach out to everybody.
I was just going to say to keep going, because every time I think I might have gotten it or gotten it right, it's always changed. So you have to, really just hone in, and it is a craft, it is a skill to do what we do. So you need to really sit down. I don't just do this from 9 to 5. I go home and read articles and connect with people and how can I get better? How can I make this better? So I think you really just need to keep going and keep figuring it out. It is always going to change. I think on one of the Hangouts I was watching this week, I think it was a podcast, I don't know, one of those things. I'm always listening to something, so I get them confused. But they had basically said that, technology is moving so fast now, and things are rapidly changing. You are never going to master every piece of it. So just keep learning the best you can and keep getting better than you were the day before.
I think for me, it's probably, be okay with the fact that you're not going to have all the control. This is talking to all of my corporate community managers out there, especially if you work in support. I came in with a lot of big ideas, like what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do a ton with social media. I wanted to do a ton of video. I wanted to do a ton of stuff. And I quickly learned that in corporate, they're not as adaptive to your ideas, and they have good reasons. The reasoning behind it is solid, but just don't come in thinking that you can change everything and then get upset when nothing that you wanted to do happens. You can make impact. You can make an impact, but it might not be the impact that you thought you were going to make.
Awesome. Good stuff. Got another question we're going to bring in here from our good buddy Michael. Thanks, Michael, for being an all-star and always being here every single week. Question for the panel. How much do any of you participate in external activities and events related to the communities you manage? So in real life, in the physical world, how often do you guys participate in those events?
So we throw a lot of in-person events. We do a lot of partnerships. I kind of told you, I said I was an organizer with a Startup Weekend. So we formed a Startup Weekend and Linksy partnership, and we throw quarterly events for all of their members. Also, I started a monthly meeting called Tech Brunch, where we just invite people from New York City that work in tech to come out and have a good time, like drinking mimosas on Sunday. But that's obviously the best part. You can just talk to people on Twitter and reach out over email, but actually meeting people in person has definitely been the best.
I went to a lot of offline events when I was at Sweet Tooth. I don't really do that related to the communities that I work with now, though.
I'm kind of on that same level since we're sort of branched out. We don't have brand-specific events. I do go to a lot of marketing, networking, social media events throughout the area. So I'm there, but they're not really our community-based. They're hospitality community-based.
Awesome.
I wish I can contribute, but yeah, we don't have a big outside of community hangout. If anybody wants to invite me to anything, though, I'm game to go.
Awesome. And I know in a couple of weeks we do actually have the Let's Take This Offline award nominees and finalists. So that'll be a really good one for anybody that wants to to learn more about that. But let's bring in another question here, Eagle-Eyed Editor. I see you, girl. How are you? Question for the panel. How do you maintain communities without burning out? So this is a good one. Best practices for for not burning out as you're jumping in this.
Or have any of you even felt at risk for that or done anything just to brace yourselves?
I will, I guess, start that. I was in the photography industry for a really long time, and I burnt out of that. I didn't think that was possible. I do photography on the side still as a hobby because I love it and I'm passionate about it. But as far as being in a business of that, I kind of sent that one on its way. So I've been really careful to not do that here. And so I think for me, it's knowing when you're exhausted and frustrated and not feeling like you're up to par or whatever, just to be able to take that step back, get away from the phone, turn it off, whatever the case might be, and perspective on what we do.
I want to share a quote because I really like it a lot from Natalie. She was the community manager for Google Plus during CMAD 2 years ago, and she was on one of the panels for it. And I just remembered it because it popped up in my time hop recently. But basically, she just shared with us that the more balanced I can be, the more perspective I can get, the more nourished I am, and the more I can serve my community. And so I think it's just a really good reminder that the more you take care of yourself to prevent burnout, like the better you can actually take care of your community. So it's not that you're taking time away from them; it's that you're making sure you can be who you need to be for them.
Wow, I love that quote. That was awesome. It's hard to get overwhelmed with a lot of going on, especially on a small team. There's social media mentions, customer service, and we have a new thing where every new user that signs up gets a spoofed email from me. So sorry if you thought that was real. They're spoofed emails. But then people respond to them saying like, oh, hey, thanks for reaching out. It's easy to get overwhelmed with how much you have going on. But I like to just, set aside like every Saturday is like I don't work at all, or I try to do my best not to, or I just set up a couple, I'll block off an hour on my calendar, just be like, all right, this is answering emails. Just like nailing down tasks like that, make everything a lot easier to manage and prevent burnout.
That's good. I like that. And anytime you get to meet up with people too, I think is also really good. That's the one thing that I at least have really enjoyed is having communities like this one. I have a group that I have a Twitter DM group where all of us work in some sort of an aspect of social, and like even that the ability to chat with people that sort of understand what you're going through. It doesn't necessarily take anything off your plate. It doesn't make your work less, but at the same time, that ability to sort of commiserate, to be able to share that happy, to be able to feel like you're not carrying that all just on yourself is a really big thing as well, I think. So we've got about 8 minutes left, and I do believe, did we hit question 8? No, we haven't. Awesome, cool. So we might make it. If you guys do have any questions, we might have time for it. But I want to know, what is the funniest community manager moment that you guys have had? So something that just, it could be absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't have to be. Just what do you think the funniest thing that just makes you chuckle when you think back to it?
So,
Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Okay. When I first started my community, I turned my community Christmas colors, like red and green, and I thought it looked pretty cool. But then everybody was messaging me and telling me that it looked like a fiesta. So, you just kind of have to laugh at yourself when you're learning in the learning process. Realize that you're going to make some crazy mistakes, which I did. Fix it, learn from it, but I would not recommend color scheme of red and green for any community. Unless you're a Christmas community, then that's fine.
So we send out text messages as job alerts to some users, and they can reply to them, and those come in and they get shared to everybody's email. But sometimes they don't realize that there's not another person, or they accidentally send us text that was meant for somebody else. So we get things as crazy as, "Oh yeah, we should bake her a cake for her birthday," or "No one's home, come over." We get those all the time. Actually, just people accidentally texting us and it gets sent out to the entire team. We try to ignore them and not laugh too hard, but we usually share them with everybody else.
So this actually just happened recently. I posted a story about hotel towels, and they're able to put a device in them to track them now for when people steal them. And I had posted it, and just being completely transparent, my boyfriend and my dad are our two biggest fans on our page, and they like to like just about everything because they know I'm behind it. And so my dad, I guess, had liked it. It had fed into his feed, and what I did not realize is that one of his friends had commented on it with, "Why would you want to steal a towel that someone else has wiped their ass with?" And I was like, man, that sounds like something someone from New Jersey would say. And so I clicked on her. I'm from New Jersey, so I'm allowed to say that. So I clicked on her name, and she lives in my hometown, which is it's Nutley, New Jersey, very small town in North Jersey. So I was like, what the heck is going on? Lo and behold, she went to high school with my dad, and I'm like, oh my God. The worlds were colliding. It was funny. I laugh about it, but I didn't think that was going to happen that way.
I mean, you can wash it.
Okay, awesome. Well, I have an idea of asking a question on ROI, but I don't think that now is the right time to really bring that up, since we have only 5 minutes left, and that normally takes up a full 60. So we'll definitely have to get back at that. Sherry, are you seeing any other questions or anything like that coming in from Twitter?
Nope, I don't have any questions, but do any of you have questions for each other, just knowing that you're rookies together?
I do.
Go for
I'm
it.
curious to know, and you can also poll the Twitters, how many people work remote and how many people actually work in an office? So, like, I work in an office. Sometimes I work remote, but primarily I'm at Blackbaud working. So, and I see that most of you guys are working from home.
I actually am in an office, but I do have a lot of flexibility to work remotely when I'm traveling, which is nice.
I have the same setup as Sherry. I'm in an office right now, but I do have the opportunity to work from home, work remotely. I have to travel for anything.
I work from an office 40 hours a week, so I'm here.
I'm not. I'm in a living room.
Hashtag Dom does hangouts from bars and stuff.
Exactly, I have done that. But I mean, for the first 9 months, I was in an office, and it's both of them are different beasts. I put up a movie about how easy it is to be able to, how easy it is to be able to get into a rut if you're working from home. When you're just sort of sitting in your sweatpants for 3 days in a row. It's not necessarily the greatest thing. I'm not saying you even put on sweatpants, because who knows. But there's definitely pros and cons. I'd be interested to see what everybody on Twitter has to say about that one. But I think that if we've got all the stuff, Sherry, what do we actually have coming up next week?
Next week we are covering the Traffic Controller Award. So I believe that's the one where people are following processes, no?
Yes. Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Fun fact, I've never actually been in charge of the awards committee, so I don't really know.
Yeah, so that's what we got going on next week. Again, if you guys want to be a part of any of these, feel free to just go to my CMGR. Big shout out as well to David Hurley, who just recently joined as a writer for my CMGR. He wrote quite possibly the greatest article write-up, Hangout write-up ever. It was
Don
beautiful.
wanted to retire on the spot, but we wouldn't.
I did, because the dude is fantastic. So, yeah, so make sure you guys go over there, check out the recap, all the recaps we've got. Make sure you follow all of these awesome peeps on Twitter. And yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday.
Bye, everyone.
Everybody.
Enjoy your Friday. Have a good weekend.